Welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa Allistway, and on this channel, you will find a variety of inspirational and informational videos. So if that sounds good to you and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. My guest today is Pam Rossuel, who is the founder and CEO of Purrfectly Holistic, a boutique for cats. Her mission is to educate and help cat owners provide the very best in holistic health for their cat. I will be linking her website down below for your reference. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you for having me. It's not
Happy
very
to have
often
you.
people want to talk about cats, so I'm excited.
Oh, I am definitely a cat lover. I think though you might be a cat lover on a whole other level. So let's kind of talk about, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and why you got into the cat business?
You know, it all started with a cat, but I'd have to really back up like 10 years prior to that. I worked in the fitness industry, gosh, for probably 37 years. And back then at the time, probably around 2000, no, probably I want to say around 1999, I got a foot injury that had to have surgery and a bone removed. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. And so fast forward, doctor says, oh, this rarely happens to the other foot. Well, fast forward a few years later, and it did. And so instead of going, you know, after going through that same round of the boot and all the other, you know, steroids and all that stuff that just wasn't working, I was on a vacation in Vancouver and we were driving through Chinatown, and they have these little, you know, all their markets and their food set out outside with all the signs. And it just kind of, I was in a boot at the time and had been in a boot for about 3 months. And it just kind of hit me like an epiphany. I said, when I get back to Houston, I need to go find a Chinese doctor. And I had never had a prompt to step out of the allopathic conventional medicine channel, if you will, until that time. And so when I did get back to Houston, I got on the internet basically and just searched and found a couple of acupuncturists, Chinese doctors. And the first one I called didn't answer. And so the next one I called did. And that's who I ended up going to. And she healed my foot in 8 weeks.
With acupuncture?
With acupuncture and some Chinese herbs.
Wow.
After being in a boot for months with the prognosis looking very bad, like I'd have to have surgery again on that foot. And I'm like, no way. So that was a real eye-opening experience for me because, like I said, I had never been interested or even prompted to look at alternative healing methods and holistic health or anything like that. And I worked in the fitness industry for quite a while to that point even. And I felt really betrayed by my own industry, being in the health industry, that I had never even heard about, you know, alternative medicine or anything like that. So it was quite an eye-opening experience. And so that just kind of opened a Pandora's box, like, okay, well, what else don't I know? What else do I need to learn about? Because this is pretty incredible stuff. And I might add that I am needle phobic. So to drag myself to an acupuncturist was
You were desperate.
way outside of my comfort zone, and desperate. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when people are at their, you know, the end of their rope and they are facing, you know, horrible situation. That's when they really wake up and go, you know, there's just something inside of me that says I need to keep looking. I need to look somewhere else. There's something out there that I'm missing that I need to go explore and learn about. And so that's what kind of prompted me on my journey. So into holistic health, I started going to a naturopath clinic. And actually, it wasn't really for me. It was for one of my cats because she had feline acne. And after going the veterinary route, who said, you got to go to a veterinary specialist. So we did that, and expensive food. And in order to find out what she's allergic to, we'd have to do all the skin testing. And I just saw dollar signs in my head. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to go to the naturopath that my friend goes to because she says people bring their cats there. So I did. And they told me right away what she was allergic to. They used muscle testing. And they did some energy clearing work called energetic cellular release, which is like a similar thing to NAET for people who know about NAET. And she was able to eat that food for the rest of her life. The ones that she said she was allergic to, never had chin acne again. So that was very, very eye-opening. And so once again, it piqued my curiosity, like, okay, I need to learn more about muscle testing. I need to learn more about herbals. I need to learn more about homeopathy. And so it just kind of started building on itself. And so when my other cats would have issues, I would take them there because I knew I could get answers and I could get help, not just a pill, not just a special prescription food, or, oh, they're going to have to be on medicine the rest of their life. Answer like that doesn't cut it. There's an answer out there. We just have to go look for it. And so I started using it for my own health stuff, hormones and all that kind of stuff. Got some great results. I mean, great results. And so I started applying things that I learned for myself and the things that I had learned for my cats through the naturopath people, and just started to build that toolkit, so to speak. And then when one of my cats passed away unexpectedly a week after receiving a rabies vaccine.
Is this Snow Bear?
Snow Bear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, his story is on my website. But we were going out of town and we were going to board the two older kitties and take the younger kitties with us. And it was a very long 2-day, road trip just to get there. So one of the requirements for the boarding facility was up-to-date vaccinations. And I had stopped vaccinating my cats years ago because I got smart and knew that there was a problem with over-vaccination. And he had feline herpes and he had some feline bronchitis. And anyway, long story short, he died a week after getting his updated vaccines. And so that was like a turning point for me when I'm sitting in an office with my best friend. We're sobbing, just like lamenting this whole situation. And I thought to myself, I said out loud, I said, somebody needs to open up a boarding facility for cats without vaccines being required. I said, I need to open up a facility that, I need to open up. I need to be that business owner. I need to be the person on the front line, educating people. Don't do what I did. Learn better, do better, the whole gamut. So that kind of prompted me into starting Purrfectly Holistic because of him, inspired by him and inspired by the cats that had taught me about natural healing and holistic approaches. And so it kind of built for the last 6 years. I was working a full-time job and building a business on the side. So I had zero life. But I was loving what I did. And I was meeting all of these people from all over the world that would find me online and ask me to help them with their cats from all kinds of issues, from not IBD specifically, but vomiting or diarrhea or horrible itchy skin and like the feline acne and the acid reflux and people that have food sensitivities, all this stuff. I mean, all the stuff. So those lessons weren't in vain that my cats taught me, because they've had issues too. So I had to learn through those issues. And so it's been really, really quite a journey. And then just this last January, I finally resigned that full-time job and I am working full-time in my business now.
Oh, that's so inspirational as far as like people starting new careers, new businesses. Especially if you're midlife, it can be kind of scary starting over. But if you have a passion, which I can hear that you definitely have a passion for holistic health, you have a passion for cats and you've married those two and you've been able to build a business from it. What did your family members, friends think when you were going to start this business? Were they think you're crazy or were they supportive or?
I don't think they were really surprised because they had seen the progression over the years. Putting aside the allopathic, I have 0 allopathic doctors, conventional doctors. Everybody I go to is alternative or holistic. So, I left that path a long time ago. So, and knowing how crazy I am about my cats, they're my kids, and blending the two, like you said, it was just a natural progression. So when I was prompted to start this business, it was probably not a big shock, and I got a lot of support from all of my family and close friends that, you know, were in the same interests in terms of holistic health or had cats or whatever. People were very, very supportive. I don't recall one naysayer that I can remember.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I still think a lot of people aren't aware of these type of businesses.
Yeah.
They're mostly used to just going to the veterinarian and paying the vet bill and accepting that as the be all end all.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's really interesting today to kind of dive into your business and all the different services and stuff that you offer. But I
Yeah.
want to touch on what you just said a second ago, that your pets were like your kids. And I've read lots of articles about how, you know, millennials are not having kids. They would prefer to have pets over kids nowadays. They're not getting married at the same rate as previous generations. There's a total philosophy change happening here. So there's definitely a marketplace,
Oh,
because
yeah.
everybody wants pets and they want them to be healthy and to live as long as possible. So I'm sure your business stays pretty busy just with the changing demographics.
Yeah. I mean, I am fortunate to have 3 animal communicators now and a full-time volunteer who is a client um, friend, and she does all of my graphic design. So that, and then I have a Reiki person. So it leaves me to be able to handle all of the ins and outs of the marketing and sales and my services that I do, and all the websites, the both websites management, and just being out there, you know, building the brand basically, and all
Yes.
the back behind the scenes stuff that's not so fun, like accounting. You
Yes.
know, so doing all of that, it takes up a lot of time.
Mhm. So,
Definitely.
so let's kind of dive into some of the holistic services that you offer. I was looking on your website. You've got some different ones listed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the animal communication. I guess that'd be like a cat whisperer.
It can be a pet whisperer. It can be an animal whisperer, because
Okay.
I've taken animal communication myself, and it was life changing for me. Besides starting this business, of course, but there was a timeline between when Snowbear passed in November, and I took that course in February. I'd heard about it um, online. I was doing some research or something. Something prompted me. I found the Lightfoot Way. I found that they had the online teleclasses. And so I ended up taking both of their animal communication courses. And that first class, it was like an all-day deal. I was a sobbing mess because it was so powerful to connect. I'm gonna cry.
Mm,
With Snowbear again, and have people that were talking to him for me, communicating messages. It was so powerful. And there was a lot of relief and guilt just gone.
mm. I
Yeah.
understand that. I understand that. I lost my 17-year-old cat, and it still hurts today. So I mean, I
Oh, it so does.
totally get
It
it.
so does. Yeah. But I had blamed myself because of the vaccine and everything, going against everything my body told me that was right. But having to do that because my hand was forced. It wasn't because I wanted to do it. And looking back now, it's really cool, because if that had not happened, I wouldn't be doing what I am today.
Oh, that's oh, that's so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really special boy, I have to say. You know?
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely. I read
sorry.
a story and I was like, oh, touched
I'm
my
sorry.
heart. That's okay.
But
This is
it's
so personal. Your pets are so
their family.
important to people's lives.
Yeah.
And, you know, when
They're,
one dies, it's a major grief. And a lot of times
it
people,
is.
you know, don't want to say compare it to other like humans dying and so forth. But if it's been your best friend for many
Yeah,
years and you've bonded with that animal, it is a major
absolutely.
loss.
It
And
is a major loss. It is a major loss. And I look back and I'm not, even though it was sad, I've been able to move past the hurt and the grief and all of that, and just see the purpose behind it, and all of the amazing people that I have met because of it, and all the number of cats that I've been able to help because of it. So it's, in the grand scheme, in the big picture,
Right. His
you can just
legacy.
see a bigger purpose behind all of it, you know?
Absolutely.
So,
Snowbird came here, did his purpose on this earth, and has
yeah,
left a legacy that's living on through your business. And like
yeah,
you said, helping, you know, thousands of other cats that are going to go
yeah,
through your program, which is awesome.
yeah. And he's, you know, every now and then I check in with him. I do a session, a talk, and you know, he's my little cheerleader.
Yeah. And I know this is a recent loss, so I'm really
No,
sorry.
no, he died in
Oh,
2014.
2014. Oh, okay. I thought it
Yeah,
was
he died
November
in,
of last year.
oh,
Okay.
no, no, it was November 2014, because
2014.
I got the idea to start the company shortly after that. And so it took a good, gosh, 8, 9 months just to kind of get everything put together and actually formally make the company, you know,
Okay.
websites and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but the animal communication, if somebody has never done an animal communication session, it is so incredible. It's so powerful to hear the pet's perspective on things, whether they're still here with us or whether they've transitioned. They have a lot to say. And they can be pretty opinionated, and they can be funny, and then they can be very serious. um it's something that a pet parent would cherish so deeply, just having that connection.
Mm-hmm. So you have like an animal communicator that mediates the conversation?
Yeah, I have 3 ladies actually, just hired a couple new ones. There are different ways that communicators actually communicate or hear. It can be something that they know in their mind. They can like actually like hear voices. They can they're given pictures and images or words as they speak to these pets, and vice versa. So the pet would, that's how they would, you know, send their messages or communication. And you know, some of these pets, they're very talkative, so these ladies are just like writing everything they're hearing in their head as they're going along. um so yeah, there's basically a session works where you book an appointment with one of the gals, and or you buy the session and they contact you to set up a time. If it's an interactive session where you're on the phone with the communicator and she's talking to the pet, and being that intermediary like you described, and you have your list of questions you're kind of using as a guideline, a framework. But sometimes they'll share stuff outside of that framework. And then others do a written, where it's a transcript. So they'll connect with the pet, and you've submitted your questions, and they'll kind of talk around that as a framework too, and get those answers and write it out in transcript and send you the transcript of the conversation. Um, it's cool. And then I have a lady who I just hired. She specializes in lost pets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something a lot of communicators will go do, because it is so hard, it is so draining, and the outcome is not always a pretty outcome. You know, it's not the outcome we want. Sometimes the pet doesn't want to be found. Sometimes the pet has moved on because they have another purpose, another family they're supposed to go help, and their soul contract was up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it was just their time to pass, and they didn't want to put their owner through the tough decision of having to do that for them or be there. I mean, it's very challenging. But she has an incredible process that she's developed, and it's not just a one session. You know, she'll connect with the parent, and then she'll connect with the pet, and this may take weeks of process to find and locate, but she's located 8 out of 10 pets that she's tried to find.
Wow.
And
That's
that
amazing.
is incredible.
So
Yeah.
is she, I'm trying to put my brain around this. Is this like a medium?
It's not really, no, it's not really a medium. It is more of a communication with using the gift of telepathy, which we all have, but in our human age, we have forgotten those skills. We have been dumbed down into believing that it's not real. Our pineal glands have been calcified due to fluoride and all sorts of other chemicals in our water and our food. And the pineal gland is the one that they call the third eye.
Mhm.
And that is the one that intuitives and mediums have really developed that skill of opening that ability to see and hear and get that information from, things that are not visible in front of us. And whether you want to call that mediumship, I mean, it kind of is in a way, um, but it's specifically with an animal versus
Mhm.
trying to connect with a person.
Mhm.
But it kind of works the same way.
Okay, that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I also I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I also see that you do optimal cat health analysis. What is all included with that?
The cat health analysis is one of the services that I do, and it is basically a deep dive energetically to find out what's going on with your cat. So I use muscle testing, which is like applied kinesiology. It is tapping into the body's nervous system via your muscles and asking the body questions, and you can get responses just because of the innate wisdom the body carries that a lot of people don't even know that exists. But our bodies are very smart, they are intelligently designed, and they know what they need in order to get themselves back into balance. And so muscle testing is a great tool to tap into that knowledge and that awareness, if you will. So what I do with muscle testing is I take the pet's photo and like a general information form from the parent, like these are the things that I'm concerned about. This is what's going on, whatever. And I just go through a very, very detailed checklist for emotional stuff, um, physical things. Physical things might be, checking all the organs and the glands and hormones and the body systems of the pet. I look at food. I look at chemical exposure through petrochemicals, things in our home, environmental chemicals, things in our food. Um, I look at vaccines. I look for viruses and pathogens. What resonates as a stressor to this pet? Where is there an imbalance? Where is there a sensitivity of some kind? And
Mhm.
that gives me a framework to start. And so going through a checklist like that, it gives you an indication of what's going on with your pet, even in the areas that you're not even aware of. Yeah,
Mhm.
they might be throwing up hairballs or whatever, but did you know there's
Mhm.
food issues going on? Did you know there's viral issues going on? Did you know the liver is out of balance? So
Mhm.
it can give you a bigger picture than just going to a vet and getting a blood panel. That's
Mhm.
very good. It's very helpful, but it doesn't show you the whole, it doesn't take into consideration, their environment and what they've been exposed to, what they're eating necessarily. It just takes a snapshot of what their blood looks like on that day, you
So
know?
you spend a lot of time, I guess, with your clients as far as educating them about if we
Yeah.
find that your cat has an allergy or a food sensitivity, and maybe we need to replace, the quality of your food. And
Yeah.
so education is a big component too of it, I see.
It is. And you know what I find, and you probably find this too, that the people who are finding me online are the ones who are already using holistic health or interested in learning more about it because their toolkit from the vet is empty. You know what I mean? They can't do anymore. They're not getting anywhere with that. So they're looking outside of their box. They're like, I just know there's an answer out there. So they're already open to the option, to the possibility of something alternative.
Mhm.
Um, they're looking for answers versus someone who doesn't really know that there's a bigger problem,
Mhm.
someone who is buying very low quality cat food and gets their vaccines every year probably isn't going to be the person who's knocking on my door unless
Mhm.
there's some severe emergency and
Mhm.
someone says, you've got to go talk to her because something is going on and your vet's not helping. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
but the people that are looking for me are the people that I am trying to attract,
Hmm.
essentially. And they find me. It's
Most,
great.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Um, I also noticed that you do spend a lot more time with clients, maybe if they went the veterinary type of route. One of the services you offer is actual in-home consultations. Can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that?
If you're close enough to me, I'll actually come to you. But
And you're located in Round Rock, Texas,
I
correct?
am Georgetown.
Oh, Georgetown,
But
which is near Austin.
it's right next to Round Rock. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of almost halfway between Round Rock and Georgetown. So yeah, I try to, for people who just really, really, really want an in-person, it's fine. It costs more because it's more time,
Mhm.
but maybe they're not ready for like a remote stuff.
Zoom call or something for it. Just take you
Yeah.
around the house.
Right. So it's hard for people to understand that when you're talking about energy, there is no time and there's no constraints. It's not limited by a distance. It's not limited by time. Um, it's all interwoven. So if you think about just having the conversation that we're having now, even though that we're not side by side in person, we can have this conversation through an amazing thing called the internet, you know, but it's still energy. We're
Yeah.
having an energetic exchange, and it works the same way with a photo. So if we weren't having a conversation, I could still, ask questions of you like, oh, silly things like where you were born, what your middle name is. I can get yes, no answers if I had, if you wanted to test the theory of muscle testing and things like that. So it works the same way. Um,
So what are you looking for in the home? Are you looking for like where their pet, the bed pet is placed, or where the food is placed, where the litter box is? Like, are you looking for like how it's decorated and designed and set up, or?
Typically not. Typically they just want me to see the pet. They want me to see the
Okay.
cat. They want me to be
Okay.
like a hands-on, oh, please come look, even though I can do all of that virtually. I don't with
Okay.
a
Because they're going
photo,
to
I don't
act normally in their natural environment versus maybe like in the
in a vet's
office.
office.
They
Yeah,
might have a different reaction.
absolutely, because they're stressed out. You take them in a car, take them to a vet, cats are stressed.
Yeah.
Dogs, maybe not, but cats for sure. They tend to like their routine and their house and their environment. So I've only done like one or two
Hmm.
in-person consults because literally most of the time I do everything on remote.
Okay.
It works just
Um,
well, you know?
yeah. That's convenient.
Yeah,
I noticed that you offer Reiki, which I found fascinating because I know I've heard of Reiki for like people, but I've never heard of Reiki for cats. So
yeah.
can you just tell us first, I mean, for the audience that don't even know what Reiki is and how that applies to with cats?
Yeah, Reiki is an old ancient type of energy healing. Um, and forgive me, I cannot remember the name of the guy who developed it. It was a Japanese guy, like many years ago. And so basically, Reiki uses energy work to clear out blocks in the body where there's stagnation. Um, it 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 follows the chakras, so the energy centers throughout the body, they go from the tailbone all the way to the top of the head.
Hmm.
So if there is let's use an example like your cat's vomiting or they're having stomach issues, most likely more times than not yours this solar plexus chakra is blocked or shut down, so there's energy stagnation in that area, so the blood is not flowing. There's not enough circulation, there's not enough energy going through there, and when that happens you start to affect the organs and the glands in a certain region, and the spine. You think about the spine and how it's connected to sending nerve impulses throughout the body to all the organs and glands. Well, throughout the spine, all those areas of the spine affect all the different parts of the body. So it's all a big energy network. And if there is one part that's truncated or just shut down or kinked or whatever, you're going to have less output and more stagnation. Um, in the body. So Reiki is very cool because people who are really, really gifted at it can actually sense where there's heat, where there's cooling areas of the body, where there's stuck energy. They can actually see the colors of the chakras and auras and things like that. It's so very, very cool if you have a really good practitioner. And basically they just work through the body to clear out all of the blocks and the stagnant energy and get things flowing again. And this helps on not only on a physical level, but an emotional level. So if there's been a deep trauma or an emotional type of experience, it's letting go of all of that bad energy as well. So it works the same way on people and pets. And so the practitioner that I have does people and pets. And she's really, really incredible. And she does remotes too. So, but hers is more of a Zoom meeting call.
Okay.
And
so yeah, I think, pets can get anxiety, they can get depression,
oh, yeah.
and looking for options. Now in Reiki, does it also include massage, or is it just hands off?
It can be hands on or hands off.
Okay.
Obviously, in a remote type of situation, it would be hands off. Sometimes the practitioner will use a surrogate, like a stuffed animal. And the intention is I'm working on the cat or the dog, and they kind of do their thing through the surrogate. So it just really depends on the practitioner and the setup, if it's a remote or in person.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you do cat massage?
I just massage my own kitties.
I'm a big believer in massage.
I love massage. Yes. And I think our cats really love that, especially on the top of their head. They have these meridians that go like from their nose up across the top of their head, and like down behind their ears. So if you have a cat, you know how much they love having the back of their ears scratched and like the top of their head rubbed, and they kind of go into a zone. It's the cutest thing, but that's because they're stimulating those meridians on there, and it feels really good.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
What other holistic health services do you offer that we haven't touched on?
One of my gals does Akashic records, and
that
is looking at, I'm not the expert on this, but it's basically looking at the your background, like previous lives, what happened to you, where you were, who you were with, patterns. It helps identify patterns in your past that you can bring through generations or bring to present time, just from experiences, and carry forward. And like I said, I'm not the expert at all, but I have.
So is this for cats or for adults?
They do for people too, people and
okay.
pets. Yeah.
Okay. So you offer both at your place.
Yeah. Yeah. We one of the gals I just hired does Akashic records for pets, and my Reiki gal does Akashic records for people. So we're going to be offering Akashic records for pets probably in the next week. That's going to be launching. So yeah,
that's so interesting.
We're just trying to be creative and how we can service pet parents and their pets, in a lot of the ways that we do for ourselves, we can do for our cats, or our dogs, it doesn't matter.
So having a pet, it requires financial responsibility because they're not cheap, and people have to budget in the veterinary costs, which are not cheap, and sometimes they'll buy like pet insurance. I'm not sure if is any of your services covered under pet insurance, or is that something you think in the future that could maybe be covered?
I don't know. That's a great question. Typically when you're looking at insurance, you're looking at the medical industrial complex, and I work outside of that.
Yeah. Well, I know for like humans, they are starting to see, like, they'll cover chiropractic care, they'll cover massage. So, I mean, they're opening up to some of these alternative therapies and having insurance covered by it. So I was just wondering if there was, like, since there's such a marketplace for pets and people, and they can be very costly with their health issues. And I mean, I had a friend who, she had a dog issue, and it was like an $8,000 pet bill by the time it was all said and done.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I was just wondering, if any of the costs could be covered with insurance.
Not at this time.
Not
Not
that
under
time.
our programs. No.
But most of your services, I believe, are pretty affordable.
Yeah, we try to really make it affordable so that we can help more people. Still being, true to the time and the energy and the commitment that it takes to go through some of these services and stuff. So yeah, it's quite an interesting realm. I guess if I could say something else to that, it would be proactive so that you don't have the $8,000 vet bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like some of the injuries and stuff that pets have, some of those can be prevented through right diet, nutrition, supplementation, things like that. And it was a dog, I'm sure that's what you're referring to. Even some of their degenerative problems are either can be mitigated if caught early enough through supplementation and proper diet and things like that, especially if there's genetic tendencies for stuff. But even for cats, if there's a genetic tendency for a cat, a certain breed to have a heart issues or whatever, that's when okay, let's start putting on some of these supplements to support the heart and the cardiovascular system before there's a problem. So that we can kind of mitigate and be proactive in those areas. And a lot of it's nutrition.
Yes. I was reading on your site about, especially if it's kidney issues, like do not give them like dry kibble. That's like one of the worst things you can do for your cat. To maybe like, high quality nutrition will prolong their life.
It does. If there's not anything else that I can leave with people today, I would say get the foundational nutrition correct, because if they're eating a really, really high quality, proper species appropriate diet, you will not have the health issues that you would if you were eating a cheap, convenient, processed food diet. It's just hands down night and day. So if you get the nutrition right, you're going to avoid a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Avoid a lot
And
of
I used to feed kibble. I didn't know. I used to feed the crap food because that's what we fed our cats when I grew up. So it's just something you're trained and conditioned to think that that's proper. I used to buy the organic special kibble, only to find out years later that it was still crap. I mean, it's just processed is processed, whether you want to put an organic label on it or not. It's still processed with high heat, and it has all of the cancerous byproducts associated with high heat processing. And so you're really not doing your cat or dog any better by eating an organic, really good quality dry food. It's still dry food. We, as a comparison, we don't eat Cheetos all day long, 3 meals a day. What kind of shape would we be in if we ate processed food, chips, and for every meal, every day of our life, we would be really, really sick. We'd have a lot of health problems. And so our pets are the same way. Their bodies work the same way.
Yeah. And I mean, obesity is such an issue for adults, but we're seeing this in pets. So many obese cats and dogs out there. What are some of the things that besides just nutrition, do you guys talk about other ways to help people get their pets at a healthier weight, like exercise and so on?
Well, the foundation would be feeding them the right food, because I will tell you, if you ask the people whose cats and dogs are obese, look at what they're feeding them, and it's going to be dry food.
Yeah.
Because it's loaded with calories. It's loaded with calories, more calories than they need. And so they can't, cats specifically they don't have the amylase, which is a digestive enzyme to break down sugars, carbs, which is what processed food is primarily made of. And so their body can't digest it. So it packs on the pounds because their body doesn't know what to do with all this sugar. It's metabolized and stored as fat. So if you just change the diet, oh my gosh, what a difference. But then get them active, play sessions, toys, get them moving, they've got to, just like humans, if we were couch potatoes, we'd be, 50 pounds overweight, and we would be terrible,
Yeah.
But if you get out and you're moving and you're exercising and you're not sedentary and you're eating right, your body just works better and you
Mhm.
look better
Mhm.
because you're more active, you know?
Absolutely.
So absolutely moving, get them moving, exercise, get the
Mhm.
diet right, you know,
Mhm.
those are
Very
big.
cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Well, we're coming to the end here. Do you have any like final thoughts you'd like to share about holistic cat healing?
You know, I would just say if you are dealing with an issue with your pet and you are at your wit's end, you don't know what else to turn to, but you know there's something, consider doing an optimal cat health analysis. And I do dog health analysis too. But just even if it's not with me, find an integrated vet who is educated and looking outside of the conventional box. And learn about proper nutrition, species appropriate diets are really the key. And then don't be afraid to explore and learn about other modalities, because you would be so mind blown at what is out there that can help pets today that wasn't known about 20 or 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We've come so far. It's the line between human and pet medicine is kind of starting to blur with the holistic and
Mhm.
alternative world. You know, there's so much crossover now, and it's so exciting because there's always an answer out there. And you know, one of the things that I always tell my clients, um, there's always something we can do. You know, a
Mhm.
vet can't say that because their
Mhm.
toolbox is limited. But with
Mhm.
holistic and alternative medicine, there's always something you can do, even if it's palliative care, end of
Mhm.
life care, or whatever
Mhm.
it is. There's always something that we can do to
Yes.
help these pets,
Yes.
and it's
And
not
I love
necessarily
that you
physical.
guys address like the emotional domain of it all, not only
Mhm.
for the pet, but for the pet
Yeah,
owner,
yeah,
because
it's
sometimes
true.
when you go to the veterinary, it's cold, you're in and out, you see them 5 minutes.
Yeah,
You know, so it's nice to have like an ally with, a service like yours that, kind of addresses that because it can be very hard.
it is, and you don't want to feel like you're alone when you have some really tough decisions to make. I mean, I've been on the phone with clients when they're at the vet having to decide if it's that
Mm,
time, you know, and
yep.
asking the pet, is this what you want? Are you ready?
Mm.
That's a very, very, very hard place to be.
Oof.
But the fact
Yes.
that they even call me, wow, that's,
Yeah.
help me figure out if this is the right thing. And
Yeah.
so that's just having somebody on your side,
Mm-hmm.
in your corner that they can just turn to you and go, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what else can I do? You know,
Yep.
it's just nice to be on the team, to be able to help and
Yes.
support
Yes.
these parents.
Yeah. And I mean, and you have the empathy. You've been there, you know exactly how that feels in
Oh
that
yeah.
moment and how hard it can be, to let go of that pet in those, end of stage times. And I think it's really valuable that you have a service that you can help, hold people's hands through those times.
Yeah. And they find it very valuable and they're so grateful. And I just have the best customers and clients. They're amazing, truly amazing. So it's an honor to be in this industry and it's an honor to serve them. It really is.
Yes. Yes. So good. Well, thank you, Pam, for being on my channel today and sharing with us all that you know about holistic health for cats. I sure do appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Yes.
And
Thank
if,
you. And if you
okay,
guys
well,
like this
yeah,
video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share and subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted to when the next video drops. Thanks for watching.
thanks.